this is a great football name, by the way, Riggs Eckelberry. He's waiting for the storm. I think he's right in the eye of the storm. It looks a little bit cloudy there, but he's very clear on what he does at OriginClear, right out of clear water, which may not be so clear water, but he provides clear water in a new industry that is growing, and I love the business model, so I had to have him on office hours as well. Water on demand, Mike Diamond. I'm going to let you, Riggs, welcome to office hour. Explain what is water on demand.
Thank you, David. Well, you know, it all started when we built a infrastructure in this country in the first part of the 20th century that was totally centralized. Send everything to one place. That's like those big concrete rivers in LA. That the whole purpose, remember Greece, the whole purpose was to get all the water to the ocean as fast as possible. Nowadays we go, wait a minute, that's fresh water, right? So that sort of 20th century concept breaks easily. It's kind of like having mainframes, right? It's convenient for some people, but most of the users get screwed. Here's what's been going on. 90% of all water use is by industry and agriculture. And 10% is us. And I remember we were living in California and they're like, take short showers, but we're only 10%. So what's the point, right? So you want to take care of the 90%. Specifically, get them off the grid. Don't let them send their dirty water to the city. And here's where the company started realizing this is right, because now they're being sued by water they sent to the city. The city didn't treat it right. Ended up in people's drinking water as forever chemicals. And now there's class action suits against those people. So they're like, you know what? If we're going to be blamed anyway, we're going to take care of our own water. So the new trend, which started about 10 years ago, was decentralized water, right? Do your own water treatment. And that's growing. It's growing fast. There's a unicorn already in the space for the really, really high-end players like pharma. We came along, we said, yeah, what about decentralized water for the rest of us? Breweries, housing developments, car dealerships, RV campgrounds, trailer parks. Those are, there's a million of them, there's a huge amount of them. And also they have the least resources to treat it. PepsiCo has resources to treat water, but these guys don't. And that led to the second phase, which is, you know what? You get your own water treatment and you get to, my wife is going on about the storm. Anyway,
I don't blame her. We're praying for you.
We're actually pretty lighthearted about it because, hey, you know, we got to be fatalistic. But anyway, so now we come to them and go, you know what? Don't pay for the machine. Kind of like that solar panel they put on your roof and you don't have to pay for it. Same concept. And it's become so popular. People are like, yeah, where do I sign? And we can take that paper, 20 or 30-year contract with a reputable company, and borrow against it on Wall Street to get the equipment in there. We retain the equipment. It's water as a service. The multiples are unbelievable. And we're now bringing it to the entire water industry at the rest of us level, not the giant, multi-billion-dollar companies, but the rest of us.
Wow. So, Riggs, how do you re-educate people when it comes to this? Because people are so, not naive, but they just go, it's just water. Well, what's the difference? I'll drink any water. But it's not. You can get really sick, the chemicals. So how do you re-educate people, even though you've got this great product? So people aren't like, I don't want that. You don't need to give me that. So, because, some people get so defensive when you try to help them. They think either they should have known it first or they know better. So how do you also re-educate? Because it's so groundbreaking what you're doing.
Thank you. Well, first of all, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of complacency. We had one of our own funders go, what's the issue, Riggs? I open the faucet, the water comes out. I flush the toilet, water goes away. What's the problem? Like, okay, fine. Nevertheless, they did fund us, so that's good news. But the fact is that there is this complacency, but these little Flint, Michigan problems are starting to pop up more and more, and that's leading to people being concerned. Mike, what country are you from?
Well, I was born in Australia, where actually the water is actually quite good.
Well, I was about to say that. Yeah. I always ask because I don't want to assume. But Melbourne has an amazing desalination plant. They spent a ton of money on it. And they really are good stewards of the water. they know that they are essentially in a, except for the coast, they're in a deserted subcontinent, continent actually. And so what they understand is that you got to take care of your water. For example, Australians, most of them these days have the gray water systems. They invested in those. We don't like gray water. What's that all about? So we're way behind. Now, in certain places, like Las Vegas, David, I was telling you about Las Vegas yesterday. They got their act together. Why? Because there's no more water. They only got what they got, and they've been very, very good with it. How do we get this to the rest of the country? Well, as you know, everything is an inverted triangle, right? And at the very bottom tip is the people who absolutely have to have it. They have no choice. They're being fined every day. They're going to be shut down, and they got to do it. And those are the people that is our current market. And now we're expanding into the wider pyramid. The people at the very bottom, we had one lady that, in fact, she was in the news on Neville Home Park in PA. She had to give away half of the equity in her trailer park to pay for the water treatment. And without that, she would have been shut down by the state. That is not okay. So these people are desperate. Today, we would tell her, no, don't give away half your trailer park. Just make it an operating expense. Pay us instead of the city. And that's what we are offering today, which is, and it's widening the whole pyramid because, look, if you have a brewery, it's not in your budget to treat the water. Nobody ever thought of that in the business plan. I'm going to treat the water. No, it goes to the city. I don't have to worry about it. Now they do. We got breweries in East Bay had their water being, the local utility was saying, no, we can't take you. And they were trucking it to another county. Brewery wastewater was the easiest thing in the world to treat. So there's a lot of this going on all over the country. And so we're picking those up. And that's our base business. That's what we've been building, our regular business. But I think there's tremendous power in people not having, businesses not having to pay capital for their water systems. And the other good part is they don't have to have a water expert on site. It's fully managed. And, you know, it's a managed service, which is so modern. This is like Uber for water, right?
It's great.
It's WAS, water as a service. And it will be very clear very soon for many people that the origin of water is the origin of the source of water, meaning I'm on my way to Dubai, so I can't wait to ask questions over there, what they're doing to source and resource the resource of water. Check out OriginClear if you have a corporation that you feel as if is under strain for the cost and the distribution and use of water. Get it on demand. Check out OriginClear, originclear.com. Riggs, thank you so much. Stay dry, no pun intended. I can see the wind starting to pick up behind you. Stay safe.
Yeah.
After the storm, we'll have you back on. Thanks for everything you do.
Can't wait because I want to tell you how people can invest in this wonderful instrument. We'll talk more.
Well, go ahead. Where can they learn more about investing?
It's very simple. If you go to OriginClear, see, the beauty of this model, which I was mentioning yesterday, is that regular investors can go in and get the equivalent of an oil and gas type royalty, generational royalty out of it. We've brought, you know, water like an oil well is what we call it. And so if people go to originclear.com, they can directly invest and get royalties from these systems that are put out, and they have a lien right to enforce their royalties. This is a beautiful way for everyday investors because you and I know it's hard for people who have a couple shekels to actually know what to spend it on, right? Like, okay, S&P, I don't know, whatever, Bitcoin, who knows? This is early stage that nobody else has been getting access to. We're bringing it to regular investors.
And it's secured, as you mentioned. You get a lien on a necessity. I always say I focus in on the four things that we need to live. One of them being air, one of them being water, one being food, and one being sleep. If you don't have those in your life, you're going to be dead. So it always seemed to be a good investment. And now anybody can because of the changings of our laws and accredited investors. So for the public out there, I highly suggest looking into assets that are secured and that are necessary to live. And OriginClear seems to have the mechanism in the medium to make those types of investments. So do your due diligence, check out OriginClear. I find it fascinating and valuable. with great leadership like Riggs, risking his life to be on episode 650 of Office Hours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, both of you, David, Mike. It's been a great pleasure.